Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're dialing in and joining us from. We want to welcome you and thank you for spending the next, 45 minutes with us. My name is Marco Pena. I'm the Business Development Manager for DecoNetwork America. Today, joining me with our Creating Custom Designs in DecoNetwork with Digital Art Solutions Interactive Templates is my fellow host, Brenden Prazner from DecoNetwork Australia. Brenden, you with us?
Good morning, Marco. How you doing?
Hey, Brenden. How you doing? Brendan's our product evangelist and strategist. He's our product manager. Everything there is to know DecoNetwork, Brenden breathes it and eats it and sleeps it and everything else with it, too. So, Brenden, thanks for being with us.
Sure.
We also have the pleasure and the honor of having Mr. Craig Mertens from Digital Art Solutions. Craig, are you with us?
Yes, I sure am.
Awesome, Craig. Hey, thanks for being with us. We're really excited about this presentation. I think we're going to have some really exciting things to show the customers out there, right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So, guys, before we get started, just a couple of house cleaning tips here. Folks, we do have everybody muted. We do that for the sanity of everybody on the line. But undoubtedly, you'll have lots of questions and maybe even some comments or suggestions. If I could, I'd like for you to look at your GoToWebinar panel on the far right-hand side. If you notice, there's going to be a section that says questions. If you have any questions as we're going through the presentation, please ask them there. We'll definitely try our best to get those questions answered throughout the webinar, and certainly there'll be time after the webinar. So once we've completed the webinar and you have some questions, please feel free to stay on. Don't hang up. We'll be available to answer any questions. All right, Brenden, I think that's it. I think we've answered most of the stuff that we do. Brenden, it's all yours.
All right, thanks very much. Look, and before we jump into it, this is, I guess, a bit of an official/unofficial announcement of a new partnership with DecoNetwork and Digital Art Solutions. So we've had a lot of demand for, really good, high-quality templates that people can have on their DecoNetwork website to customize and update to, I guess, really take out the pain of building a design on the web. Because let's face it, our customers are not graphic designers, and we don't want to spend hours regenerating new artwork for them all the time. So this is, again, a bit of an unofficial/official announcement that in the coming weeks we'll be seeing some digital art solutions collections being made available in a DecoNetwork website. So if you're a DecoNetwork subscriber or thinking of finding a way to have these customizable templates on your web, then DecoNetwork's the choice for that. And again, pretty soon we'll be having some DAS or Digital Art Solution templates available for your customers to customize in your DecoNetwork site. And that's really what we'll be going through this morning. So I really have the easy part in terms of showing the DecoNetwork site and how those templates interact on DecoNetwork. And then I'll be handing over to Craig, and Craig will show you what you can do once you grab that digital art template out of DecoNetwork and the magic you can perform in some fantastic software that they've got down at the Digital Art Solutions team. So this is my demo website, and you're also welcome to go ahead anytime yourself. It's demo.deconetwork.com, and you've probably seen me use it in various webinars and demos I've done in the past. But what I like to do is quickly click up to Designs and click on my DAS Templates folder. Now I've made some Digital Art Solutions templates available on my demo website, and I've just put them in a folder called DAS Templates. You can, of course, organize them in any structure that you want, by sports, by categories, by whatever you want. And I've just got 5 here available to view and show online. Now, the great thing about having the Digital Art Solution template in DecoNetwork is you don't have to go through the pain of uploading them all. We'll have them available for you to choose as a collection. So all you have to simply do is go into the back end of your DecoNetwork website and say that you want available the Digital Art Solutions collections, and they'll be available on your website. Now, I've got various designs here, various layouts for various sports events, and I'll choose this football design here. And the first thing it does in DecoNetwork is it shows a large preview of what that template looks like. So your customer can see roughly what they're going to get, the style, the colors, the layout, the fonts, and then we automatically preview it on the first 8 products on your website. Now I've only got 6, so it shows it on the first 6, and I'll choose this baby rib 3/4 sleeve raglan shirt. So without you having to go through and map that product or that design up to every single product, DecoNetwork will do that for you automatically. And all your customer has to do is choose which product they want to view, and it will pop up with that design on that product. But of course, it's not just an ordinary standard design. It's an interactive digital art solutions template. So instead of your customer being thrown into a large, complicated online designer where they have to move things around and choose their font and choose their layout and be a graphic designer themselves, we extract all that valuable information out of that digital art solutions template and make that available on your website for your customers to modify. So let's say I'm doing a sports shirt for the DecoNetwork football team. We have an indoor football team. We want to get a series of shirts printed. So all the text has automatically been extracted from that rich CorelDRAW digital art solutions template. So I just have to go through and modify the text that I want. And of course, we are the DecoNetwork team. And if I want, I can change the color and choose a new color for my color palette, but I'm happy with the color as is. And then next I want to change it to, instead of being Mustangs, to be Panthers. So go through, change that, and say we are the Panthers. Now of course, we weren't established in 1965. We were started in 2008 as a product DecoNetwork, so I'll update that to 2008. And DecoNetwork does all the hard work for you. Without your client or your customer having CorelDRAW software, we take that text, we put it back to the CorelDRAW running in DecoNetwork and updates that template live for you. If they want, they can even swap out the images. So if they don't want the football, they want a baseball, they can swap that out. Or if they don't want the swirl, they can swap that out. Or again, even change the colors. But in that case, I'm fine with it the way it is. I can update my quantities, add that to a cart, and that will now make a purchase live on your DecoNetwork website for that rich CorelDRAW vector template, a digital art solutions template modified by your customer live on your website. Once all that's done, I won't go through the whole checkout process because no doubt you've seen a typical website checkout process. But once that's done, that rich CorelDRAW template is available here on the back end of your DecoNetwork website. When you log in, you can process the orders, which shows you all the orders that have been collected on any of your DecoNetwork websites. Because remember, with DecoNetwork, you're not just limited to one website. You can have multiple websites all linked up to a single fulfillment center. And in this case, I placed an order a little bit earlier this morning on the 7th of May. And I will download that design. And on the back end, here I have a rich CorelDRAW file for me to download in a .cdr, which again is the exact digital art solutions template that was on my DecoNetwork website that my customer went through, modified and customized, ready for the machine. Now you can specify the various file formats. You might have a production file as a PNG, or you might have it as a CDR file. And in this case, I have my editable file as a CorelDRAW X5 CDR file. And you also can specify the format. So if you have version 4, for example, it can be X4, X3, or coming out soon being X5. Now the real magic is once you have that CDR file is what you can do with that to get it ready for production. And to do that, I like to hand over to Craig Mertens, who'll go through and show you exactly what you can do on the digital art solution side of things and modify that template ready for your production. So Craig, I'll get you to show out your screen, and let me just make you a presenter and show us the magic that you can do in your software.
All right. Well, thanks, Brenden. First of all, I got to tell you, I've got shivers here watching what you just did with our artwork using DecoNetwork. It's just, it's interesting. We've been, wanting to get involved in web technology for quite some time, and we've received a tremendous amount of pressure from, other suppliers and vendors. And when we originally started talking to Brenden and his team over at DecoNetwork, we knew this was the right technology. And one of the unique challenges that I think anyone faces when they're working with this technology is the factor of production-ready files. And we've looked at a lot of the competing products out there, and the single biggest feedback that we get from clients on some of these products is, the net piece of our work that I get is not production-ready.
Yeah.
So my client can go online, they can create something that I can't produce, or that I have to spend a lot of time getting ready to produce. The other thing, too, is also the way graphics are composed online. We want to make sure that the templates themselves, in terms of the composition, is going to be stuff that people can easily modify, and they don't create a file that, hey, it's not even practical to even produce. And so I'm really excited having that back-end design engine that was built by the great folks over at DecoNetwork to work with. So the part we're doing is we're supplying the content. The part that DecoNetwork is doing is supplying this amazing technology. So what you guys are seeing on the screen here, this is CorelDRAW X5. And this isn't the standard version of CorelDRAW X5. This is a version of X5 that's running what's called Smart Designer. Now, Smart Designer is an add-on software for CorelDRAW. And over here on the right-hand side, you can see these little tabs. Each one of these tabs is corresponding to a feature set inside of Smart Designer. So we'll talk a little bit about those features later on. But let's go ahead and pick up that file that Brenden sent over. And this is the production file that was delivered over to me. And notice all the fonts in the file were actually embedded in the document too. So boom, there you go. There's the file. We'll kind of slip in some CorelDRAW tips along the way to kind of see some kind of neat things that are going on here. First of all, okay, is this file a bitmap file? Is it a PNG file? What is it? It's a CorelDRAW file. And because it's a CorelDRAW file, the native CorelDRAW file that we created on our end that we supplied to Wilcom is just coming back to us, including all the vectors, all the colors, everything. So what kind of shocked me when I opened this file up, I got it from Brenden this morning, was in his afternoon, is I looked at it in wireframe and I'm like, holy smokes, look at this. This is vector. All the original vectors came right back to us. The other thing that was kind of a mind blower for me is when we created all these templates, we decided to create them in Pantone colors. And you'll notice the original Pantone color we created that in, which is Reflex Blue, is now coming back. That means this file is already color separated for screen printing. I was kind of blown away by that. I was like, well, I don't really have to do anything to prep this file. Now, a little CorelDRAW 101 type of thing. If you're getting files, the color model that's used for those files is very important to your production process. For instance, let's say I'm using a direct-to-garment printer. And what I'm seeing on the screen might have no relevancy to the actual color that's output to my printer. Let's say that my printer was a Brother printer. I print that shirt out onto my Brother printer, and that blue that's on the screen looks like a completely different color. So because these are vector files, it's very easy for me to recolor these images to a known color, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the bottom line here is this file that I have right now, it's production ready. I can literally go right directly to my printing process, and I can also go right directly to color separations for screen printing. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you that. So what we have right here, we have the file. This is the standard methodology for printing, a color separation in Corel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Print. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my print driver. I'm going to select device-independent PostScript file. This is just a great way to, if you don't have a PostScript driver on your system and you want to preview halftones, this is a great way to do it. It's kind of a generic driver that Corel installs with CorelDRAW. So we'll go ahead and select that. I'm going to go down here to Layout. I'm going to say Fit to Page so we can see the entire document. And then I'm going to go over here to Color, and I'm going to press the button for Print Separations. So there's my color separation. So if I'm a screen printer, I can go straight to the printer, and my color separations are done. And you'll notice for each color that's in the design, it'll print a solid black image. So in this case, we have a 2-color design, or do we? We actually have a 3-color design. So what's the third color? The third color is white. So you're noticing all the white is showing up. So if this was to be prepped for a dark shirt, we'd have that third color for a dark shirt. And what we can do is if we go over here to separations, if we're doing this for, say, a shirt that has, oh, it looks like we have 2 different blues in here. We can show you how we can consolidate that as well. We go over here, we go to Pantone Transparent White. We turn that separation off, and that separation would be ignored. So we get 2 colors. We get that color, and we would get that color. And this little preview window is going to show us the colors of the design. Now, the other thing that we can do is we can go ahead in Smart Designer, we can use the color conversion functionality to pre-flight the design. Well, what's pre-flighting? Well, we kind of want to see the lay of the land. We want to see what we got when we receive the color design. Because what could happen, an end user, just like in this situation, could go in and they're changing the colors from blue, and they pick 2 different blues instead of one unified blue. And it's very important that we get that set up to a unified blue. So you'll notice what we did right here is I went in and I hit Swap Colors. This is a Smart Designer feature. And in this feature, it's showing me the different colors in my design. So there's my Swap Color feature. Now, I can go in if I want. If I want to change this color to another yellow, we can just click on that. Maybe we want to make that gray. So I'll cruise down here with my Pantone Solid Matching color palette. And these are all colors that are going to come out as Pantone spot colors. So you notice we've changed the color. So we've got that. And I can change this color over here to the same reflex blue if I wanted to do that. But you know what we're going to do instead? We're going to use what's called a merge. I'm going to go over here to Merge Colors. And here's the colors together. I'm going to select them both. I'm going to hit Apply. And the software is going to merge them into a single color. So it's pretty amazing when you have designs that have 5, 6. Here's what happens. You get a design, the client's going to go online, and they're going to pick a clip art image. And the way that the clip art images are set up for this program, they're set up in 3 different versions. They're set up as a simple black and white version. Actually, it's not even black and white. It's black. It's solid, one solid color. So the white areas would actually be the substrate color showing through. So that's option number 1. Same thing's been done for the templates. Option number 2 is a 2 or 3 color spot design, which is already pre-color separated for screen printing, and a white in that case would actually be an actual white. It wouldn't be the garment color showing through. And then the other design, and those are typically done in school colors, the other design would be done in what we call digital color. This is set up for direct-to-garment printing. It's got gradients and blends. We'll show you some examples of that. But here's the problem, the production problem you're going to get. The client's going to pick a piece of clip art. That clip art has 2 or 3 colors in it. The template has 2 or 3 colors. They're really not paying attention when they recolor it up. And you have 2 blues on the screen that look very similar, but they're not. They're 2 separate blues. And so what we did is when we brought it into Smart Designer, we just did a color merge. And so we merged those colors together. The other thing we can also do when we're doing a swap color is we can set up what we call a halftone. So the files don't have to be solid color. They could be a halftone. I'll show you how we do that right now. I'm just going to ungroup the design. And first thing, kind of ground rules of halftones, something that's very important. A halftone, in order to output a halftone to a printer, you have to have one of 2 things. You have to have a PostScript printer driver, which in most cases, like laser printers, a lot of the laser printers have a PostScript printer driver, or you have to have a RIP software that interfaces the CorelDRAW file with the printer. So basically, people are always like, hey, I'm doing halftones, I'm looking on the screen, and I'm seeing a shade of the color, but I'm not seeing those dots. The only time you're ever going to see those dots is when you print those files to a PostScript printer or using a RIP software, and you print it to typically an inkjet printer. So you're never going to see those dots on screen. So to show you an example of this, I'm just going to select this portion of the design. And in my Smart Designer software, I'm going to cruise down here. I'm going to go to Printing and Cutting. And here's kind of all your pre-flighting features. And so I'm going to say Create Halftones. And the software, first thing the software is going to do, it's going to say, hey, dummy. It's not going to say, hey, dummy, but it's going to say, hey, you must have a PostScript driver, printer driver in order for this feature to work. Now, because my default driver now is a device-independent PostScript driver, guess what? It's thinking I have a PostScript driver, so that's kind of cool. So that's why that little feature comes in kind of handy. The other thing it's going to do, it's going to say, hey, what kind of printing are you doing? Are you doing a simple spot color print on a light garment? Are you doing a detailed spot color print on a light garment? Are you doing photorealistic printing on light? Are you doing photorealistic printing with an automatic press or a manual press? This is very important. Are you doing simple spot color prints with an underbase? This is very important because the type of dot pattern that you're going to select is going to be dependent upon the type of printing you're doing. So I'm just going to say simple spot color print on a light garment. I'm going to set a halftone, which is going to be a shade. So this dot pattern is going to provide the illusion of it being a shade. It's not really going to be a shade. It's just going to be dots that make the image look lighter. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to apply that to the fill, so the fill color of the object, or we can apply it to the outline. And then it's going to give me halftone, size, frequency, and angle. So in a nutshell, dot, I can do all kinds of different dots. I can do a dot that's a diamond. I can do a dot that's a double dot. But we're just going to do a good old-fashioned round dot, halftone size. So this is what's indicating the size of the dot. The smaller that number gets, the bigger the dot. The larger that number gets, the smaller the dot, because that's in lines per inch, LPI. So if you're squeezing more dots into an inch, that number, you're making the dot smaller. Now the angle, people always get tripped up by the angle. Is that the rotation of the dot? No, it's not the rotation of the dot. What it is, it's the offset of the rows of the dot. So these dots are all set up in individual rows, and that's the offset from row to row to row. So what we have here is preset settings that we know from experience happen to produce good halftones. Now, typically in screen printing, you're going to be between, say, 35 and 65 on your halftone side. 53, between 40 and 55 is kind of a good starting point. The default for this particular type of printing is 53. And so there's all kinds of technical details associated with halftones. But at the end of the day, we're even going to give you the recommended screen mesh, 220 to 305 with this halftone size. So we'll go ahead and hit apply. And the design, it's going to automatically make the change of the design. and it's going to set up the halftone. So halftone is more or less just nothing more than a shade. That's all it is. It's just a shade in the design, and it's setting up that shade. So what we've done is we've assigned that particular object with PostScript properties that when we go to print, it's going to tell it to print as a dot color, a dot as opposed to a solid color. So people are always like, hey, you know what, I'm not really sure what this is supposed to look like. Well, here's a little trick that we did. Inside Smart Designer, we have a little function. We go over here to Color Management, and we'll say Print Color Charts. So here's a bunch of color charts. Well, one of the color charts we have is a halftone chart. So if you have a PostScript printer or a RIP software, you can actually print this chart out, and when it prints, it shows you the different dots. This is something that's built right into Smart Designer. So it'll show you what by frequency and angle, it'll show you what 35 LPI looks like at 100% and at 10% right here. And then you kind of go right down the list, and you'll see that these kind of go up and down in 5 LPI unit variables. So here it is at 45, 55, 65. So on the screen, it's going to look like a shade. When you actually print that out, you're going to actually see the dot patterns. Great idea. Burn that on a screen. Print it on a piece of a Pellon or a white T-shirt so that you can pin that up right next to your workspace and see what those dots are going to look like. So one of the things that Smart Designer does a really good job on is handling all of your halftones. So there's that. Now, while we're in there, we might as well show you another cool little trick. Under Print Color Charts, one of the other things that we have is we have the Pantone. We have all kinds of color charts, but we have the Pantone Matching System color chart. So here's the entire color chart for Pantone Matching System. Well, why is this even relevant? Here's why this is relevant. Remember we were talking about that printer? If you have a direct-to-garment printer or a sublimation system, the colors that you're seeing on screen are going to have very little relevancy to what actually gets printed on the device. So here's what happens. The client goes on the DecoNetwork website, and they pick a color, and that color looks one way on the screen, and then they want to go print it to their machine. Or they want to send it to you, you want to print it. But here's the problem. We want to make sure that we can hit relevant color values. So for instance, that original file was reflex blue, which is also known as royal blue. We want to make sure that that file, when we print it, is going to be pretty close to royal blue. So the easiest way to do that is to print this color chart right out directly to the direct-to-garment printer, so we can see what these colors are going to print out on that garment printer using a specific color, like say it's white or ash or yellow. We can go to that chart and we can say, hey, let's go over to this chart and let's see what's going on. Okay, 072, that's the blue I'm trying to hit. That looks perfect, and I want to go ahead and recolor my design to 072. So by having that color chart printed out onto the actual substrate, it gives you a perfect reference point of what that color that's assigned in CorelDRAW is going to print like. So same thing, 032. People like to consider this as scarlet red. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go back and show you how we can recolor that file to hit a specific color. So let's see where our original file is. Let's go ahead and open up the original before I edit it. So we'll just go over here. We'll open that file up. And so there's the original file right there. And we say, you know what? Let's go ahead and recolor this to the specific colored blue. So I'll just go over here to color conversion, and we'll go to swap colors, and I'll pick this blue right here, and we'll go ahead and click on, we'll just type in over here 072, or we can select the blue over here either way. So we'll select, there's 072 right there. We'll hit OK, and it's recolored it to 072. Now, we still have that same problem with the colors being the multiple colors in there. So what I can do is go back to the merge function again, and then we can merge these two together. Now it's 072 for all of that. So having that color chart is a very invaluable tool because these palettes right here are matching the color chart. So if I pick a color from the Pantone Matching System color palette, which you have right here, if we printed out the color chart and we just pick that color from the chart, you're going to get perfect colors every time. So that solves a pretty interesting production problem. So one of the other things I want to show you, these templates, once you get them downloaded, they're what we call smart templates. And the best way to kind of explain that is when this template came in, you'll notice it's all set up as one singular group. Okay, it's one group. But if we ungroup it, let's see here, the file as it was grouped on the DecoNetwork website, check it out. That same grouping is passing with the file. And so what that means is all the layers are there. And you'll notice this is 2 layers. So you got layer 1, It's a solid blue with an outline on it, and then you have layer 2, which is gold with a white outline on it. And that's what's creating that effect. So what we can do is we can interact with that file as a smart template. That's a feature that's built into Smart Designer. So what I would do is I'd go over here to Templates, and I'd say Edit Current Art as Template. And it's very similar to what DecoNetwork is doing online, except we're doing this offline. And so we'll just go down here, and I'll just say Desert Mountain. Okay, now you notice as I'm putting more characters in there, you notice it's squeezing the text. The reason it's doing that is that text has an envelope around it, and that's a container that's preventing that text going any wider than that area that we've designated. That's an awesome feature, and that's a real advantage of using that CorelDRAW engine. A lot of the online design engines that are available, they don't have enveloping. It's a very complex programming problem, and having that enveloping that's built in is great because we can constrain where that text goes. So if this is a value right here that's a shorter value, like DMHS, see what it's doing? It's just using the shorter value. But once it reaches its maximum limit, it's going to go in and it's going to go in and make the change. So let's change Mustangs here. We'll change this to Wolves. There we go. Okay, if I don't want it to be uppercase, I just can click on the little button there, and we can shuttle between uppercase, lowercase. It's just an interactive design. Established, let's say 2010. There we go. So we're making that change. Now, what if I don't like that font? Hey, no big deal. Pick a different font. We can go in there and pick a different font. So it's all live and interactive. Now, once we have that set up, what we can do is we can swap out the clip art. We can pretty much do whatever we want. So we'll go ahead here and we'll go ahead and play around with that a little bit. And we can move the football over here, or we can swap it out if we want. We can do that as well. But let's change the colors. So I'm going to cruise down here.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Did you stop showing your screen?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, it looks like the GoToMeeting screen share popped down.
Okay, hold on. Let me restart real quick here.
No problem. I tell you what I really thought was quite amazing for all that was just the ability to swap the colors in and out. And Craig mentioned a little bit earlier about production ready art, and a simple analogy that someone once told me when I was explaining this to them. They said, well, that kind of makes sense. Why would you want a PNG file or an SVG or even an EPS perhaps for that matter when you're ready to do production ready file when you've got this rich CorelDRAW? And he kind of described it as, well, it's equivalent to doing a CD album, recording CD quality on a good old-fashioned tape deck first, and then going back and then remastering that to a CD. Yeah, sure, it's got the same beats, got the same instruments, but you're starting off with bad quality, and then you're trying to up the quality and bring it into, a CD quality afterwards, and it just doesn't make sense. So at least from this beginning, the guys at DAS have done these awesome CorelDRAW rich templates, and in DecoNetwork they're maintained as a CorelDRAW rich template. And just so you know, this is a special development we've done in partnership with Corel. So they're fully aware of all this capability and all this function, and they've been very kind to give us the exclusive license at this stage to have the vector engine on the web. So as Craig said from the beginning,
Can I ask you that, Brenden, that right now we're the only solution out there that can do this, right?
Yeah, exactly. The two of us together with DecoNetwork and Digital Art Solutions, the only company that can take these rich CorelDRAW files, pump them on the web, modify them, and then bring it back into this awesome software to do production ready designs. Okay, we can see your screen now, Craig.
Okay, one of the questions that was asked is, when the print, is there going to be a big blue fill and then the yellow letters over the blue? In the case of you're going to a vinyl cutter, that would be the case. But when you're printing color separations with CorelDRAW, it's going to knock the yellow through the blue. But if you were to set this, I'll show you a little trick. If you have a vinyl cutter and you wanted to set this file up for vinyl cutting, number one, one of the things we could do is we can kind of decompose the file a little bit. I'm going to delete that layer. I'm going to take the bottom layer, and I'm going to select it, and I'm going to right mouse click to click the outline off. So right now, this is set up perfectly to go to a vinyl cutter. If you're doing a two-color process, what I would probably do is take that right here, that layer, and turn the outline on, and then we can put the yellow right directly over the top of the blue. So that's another option. Cool little Corel trick. I'll show you kind of a neat little Corel trick for vinyl cutting. I'm just going to right mouse click to turn that off. You could also put a contour layer over it, and so you could go over here and select the contour function and drag a contour layer over there. See how we drag that layer? I'm just going to say one layer. There we go, and we'll thicken that layer up a little bit. There we go, and we'll change the layer color, maybe make it kind of a red. And that right there is set up for vinyl cutting. I can just break the contour group apart. This is the flexibility of the CorelDRAW design engine. I mean, this is the magic. And in fact, on something like this, we could use the trim function, and we could either use trim or simplify to punch those layers through. There's the beauty of vector artwork right there. So you have complete flexibility over the file. Let's go ahead and swap out that football. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a function that's in Smart Designer that's called the Clip Art Browser. And, oh, hey, while we're in here, I might as well show you this. One of the things I did, some of the files, you guys are getting kind of a sneak peek of some of the files that are in the web packs that we're working on with DecoNetwork. But when we were talking about the gradient fill version, this is the gradient fill version of the file that has more dynamic effects. It has blends, gradients, drop shadows. It's not going to be as screen print friendly, but it's going to be terrific for working in the context of sublimation printing or digital printing, or even using like a VersaCam with a print and cut. Here's the same idea. A one-color black and white version that would be more suitable for vinyl cutting or laser engraving, and then here's the spot color version, and you kind of get an idea of some of the things that we've been working on. So these are not files that were just pulled directly from our collections. These are files that we've spent months prepping and setting up for online web content. We've had to go in and make sure all these files are production ready. And the reason we did that is, when we sell to people that are screen printers and embroiderers, and they know how to really go in and adapt that file and tweak it out to make it work. But you know what? When they're doing an online design, your customers don't have that knowledge. So we really have to set that up so it's production friendly. And so that's exactly what we did with these files, is we set these up so they're production friendly, so we don't have to worry about your customers making mistakes. And part of the thing that we did is we made sure objects didn't sit on top of each other, or if they did, it wouldn't distort the text. We wanted to make sure that the text was more readable. So in an online environment, we wanted to make sure that the proportions of the lettering were larger so they could read it in a smaller thumbnail. It was really quite a bit of work. When we first started working on this, we're like, we really can't take the files as they are in the volumes that we have and make them work online without doing some modification, because we just want to alleviate those problems on the production end. And so there we go. So, but what I was going to do is kind of show you how we can swap out that image. All I did is select the image, and then I can go to one of our databases. On any of our clip art volumes, one of the things that we have is we have keyword search databases that are provided, and I can keyword search for a specific image. And let's say it was going to be, we're going to swap that image out and make it a hoop and net design. What we could do is just do a keyword search for basketball, and then it's just going to put the basketball in there. And again, that image is spot color separated, and you get a little insight to how we create clip art images. There you go. And these are the types of images that are going to be available for DecoNetwork. So we've gone in and given you guys quite a bit of flexibility, and I'm just going to tweak that over to the side. We'll make that a little bit bigger. Little cool Corel trick. Check this out. I just used my control key to select inside that group that selected the color down here, and I can just drag and drop that color, and we just consolidated that color. So see what I did? I used my control key to select inside the group. The color's showing up on the status bar, and I just dragged it into the status bar, and now we got the same red in there. So let's do something else with this. One of the popular effects that people like to see is people like to see all the effects that are like weathered. And one of the unique features of Smart Designer is a great functionality for weathered effects. And in fact, there's quite a few effects. And what we'll do is we'll kind of tweak this out a little bit. I'm just going to delete that contour layer. And there's our original text. And we can go over here and create an outline effect. And this is just a functionality of CorelDRAW, or excuse me, of Smart Designer, to say apply. And we can create an outline effect there. One of the other things that we can do is that effect can be created for either printing or cutting. It's completely up to me how I want to create that effect. So there's a little outline effect that we can set up, and we can go over here and we can change all the default colors for the inline and the outline and the shadow and all of that. But in terms of like creating that weathered effect, oh, by the way, you can do all these cool digital effects too. So you see that color layer right there? I can just select that layer right there, and let's do a digital effect. So I'll cruise down here, and we'll do like a vector fill pattern, and we could do camo or diamond plate, or let's see, we'll do like a diamond plate. and there's the file with diamond plate. Okay, all you nerdy CorelDRAW people, this is power clipped. So if you edit the contents, you can move the power clip around inside the graphic, make it bigger, make it smaller, and when you're done, right mouse click, say finish editing. Okay, do you see we're having CorelDRAW as the back-end design engine for DecoNetwork is vastly superior to what everyone else is doing? It's kind of a big deal.
And by the way, Craig, I'll also point out as well, all this fantastic power clip and multi-fill effects, everything you see here is 100% compatible in DecoNetwork as well. So it takes power clips, gradient effects, in and out.
That's a great point, Brenden, because some of our templates have things like flags, national flags, embedded into the text. So you can take advantage of all those power clipping functions. So one of the things that we said we want to add a weathered effect. What we're going to do here is I'm just going to use the weathered effect feature. And here's how this works. Whatever is selected is going to have the weathered effect applied to it. But if nothing is selected, it's going to apply it to the whole design. And we have, I think there's almost 200 different weathered effects that we have available to us now. And in fact, some of our newest art, well, there's one that looks like a football jersey. I like that. That's cool. So we'll go ahead and hit apply, and it's going to apply that weathered effect. So now you have an effect that looks like a football jersey. And when you print color separations out as a screen printer, that's in spot color. So if you turn off the white color separation, it's going to knock those dots through the entire image. So again, production ready. If I don't like that effect, I can just hit Control-Z and we're ready to go. So what I'm going to do, next I'm just going to kind of show you some of the content. If you wanted to create your own content for usage with an online design software, what we would do is I could go over here and create what's called an athletic tail. Athletic tail is a pretty common thing that most people see, and we'll just go in here and we'll type in DecoNetwork. There we go, and let's see here. What's the official country designation? Is it Sydney? Where's the DecoNetwork world headquarters now, Brenden?
It would be, yeah, you could say Sydney.
Sorry, mute.
Okay, so we'll just go ahead and type in DecoNetwork. Okay, that'll work. So it's going to create that athletic tail for me. So
wow.
There's the tail.
Too easy.
You notice it's going to put me into what's called a little timer mode. It's going to allow me to make that connection point, and it's going to weld all those overlapping letters together. Or I can just jump the gun and hit double click, and it does that weld points. So you can see it set this all up for production. It's even gone in. If you were to weld that yourself and unify those paths, Sydney would have gotten thrown behind that tail. It even moved Sydney ahead here. And again, over here we could add an effect. So we could go down here to outline effects and add an outline effect if we want. So we can set that up. Kind of the sky's the limit there. But once we have that set up, what we can do is we can create what's called a virtual sample. And you'll notice Corel is creating a little color palette for me there on the fly. And I'll just add a little red outline on this. A little cool little Corel trick. If you right mouse click and go to properties, your property manager will come up and you can change all your properties over here. Another cool Corel trick. You see how crowded that is? Just click behind fill. You see that? And it throws the outline behind the object. While you're in there, hit scale with image, because what we're going to do is we're going to create a virtual sample with this. And if we didn't hit scale with image, when I resize that, the outline's going to stay the same width. So next thing I'm going to do is using a cool little feature in Smart Designer, and we'll go over here to virtual samples, and I'm going to change my page size over here to letter. So we'll change that to letter. So this is going to be the size of my document, and I'm just going to cruise over here. We'll just go to virtual samples, and we'll pick a shirt. And in this case, I'll do a baseball shirt or like a ringer tee. Ringer tee would look kind of cool. So there we go. There's our ringer tee. It's going to put the design on there. We'll make it gray. And then we'll change the accent color. So I'll just hold down my control key. And there's the accent color. There you go. There's your virtual sample. So kind of, this is more of like an offline sample if I wanted to send a PDF over to a client. So next thing I would do is go to proposal sheets. I'd pick a style for my sheet. This is the layout here. I'd add the product. And you can add up to 6 products. And then I would hit go. And it's going to make my proposal sheet for me. And it's just going to set it up for me. Next thing I'm going to do is just create a PDF file. So the easiest thing to do with the PDF, and we'll change that to letter there, is just say create PDF now, and I'm going to slap that over onto my desktop, and then we'll hit go. And we just went from 0 to completed PDF file, and boom, we're done. Oh, by the way, cool trick in Adobe Acrobat, File, and you can say attach to email, and you can just attach that over to an email. So it's just a great offline proofing function. You can also do online proofing functions using the DecoNetwork interface as well. So that's a pretty cool way to do it. So just wanted to kind of walk you through some of the basics of Smart Designer. I could go on and on and on about all the wonderful features of Smart Designer, but I want to show you one last thing that will give you the whole Smart Designer concept. And I teach Corel training classes all over the world, and one of the things that people always want to see is, we call it donut text. And donut text is a very common, function that every software has. It's think of a donut with text above, text below. If you're new to CorelDRAW, you will certainly have to learn this sooner or later. And I'm going to show you the steps for doing donut text. And first thing you do is you draw your ellipse. And I'm going to hold my Shift and my Control key down to draw my ellipse. That keeps it, sizes it from the center out and keeps it a perfect circle. Then I'm going to hold my Shift key down to copy that circle. Right mouse click to copy it. Then I'm going to type in my text, digital, there's that. And then we'll go select Art Solutions down here. And we'll change the font there. So we'll use a different font, maybe like College or something. So we'll use College, and we'll change the point size, maybe make that like, let's see, 48 point. So I'll select that text, I'll select the outer layer, fit text to the path. So we'll just say fit text to the path, then you grab that little red dot, and then you can drag it down. And then we'll select that one, select the outer layer, fit text to a path, drag that down, and part that people always get tripped up on is you got to mirror horizontally and vertically, and once you do that, then you have to drag it back down, and then you have to do a little processing, grabbing the shaping tool, and usually spread that out a little bit. See what I did? Got that set up there. Now, what if you want to make that truly a donut? Then what you got to do, it gets a little tricky. You got to go over here and you got to break the compound group apart. So we got the individual circles. See that? Select the outer circle, select the inner circle, combine them, and change the color. There you go. You got the donut. That's CorelDRAW, and that's what frustrates people is all those steps. And I know I was whipping through it and showing you. That's kind of in production speed. That's not really in training speed. So it's pretty complicated to do that. And I teach that in classes all over the world. Here's the Smart Designer concept. Effects, go to Circle Text, type in Digital Art Solutions, add circle to the inside, add it to the outside. I want to combine the circles, pick your font size, pick your colors, hit apply, done. That's Smart Designer. That's the whole concept. So what we're doing is we're taking and shaving all this time off. So we're basically doing 5 major things to CorelDRAW. We're, number one, automating and simplifying. Number two is we have the concept of what we call smart templates. And you guys saw we were playing around with all the templates. So these are starting points. And so what you see on the DecoNetwork site is examples of smart templates. What we did with the content that we did with DecoNetwork, we actually did kind of best of from all of our different collections. So we went out and actually pulled different content from all of our collections, so clients could have access to really cool, funky designs. And you see these templates that are over here. These are just templates that are from our various digital art solutions collections. There you go. And so here's some of these templates were actually used in the DecoNetwork project. So templating is a big part. Simplifying, automating, access to clip art. So we make it really easy for you to grab not only our clip art, but the clip art that comes with CorelDRAW, as well as your own clip art. So that's a thing that we do. The fourth thing that we do is we add production-specific features to CorelDRAW that are features that you're going to need in order to get your images set up specifically for your output device. Color separation, path modes, splash bases for screen printing, color charts. And then the last thing that we do is we integrate the software into other third-party add-on programs. So, for instance, Smart Designer can directly integrate into the Wilcom software, whether it's E2 or Deco Studio or Embroidery Studio. It actually integrates into those programs. So we add a subset of our features to those programs. It also integrates into various cutting software. People know us for our Rhinestone multi-decoration software, StoneCut Pro. It integrates with that. So we tie this all together. And the latest integration is with DecoNetwork. So very proud of what we're doing. We're really excited to be part of this joint venture with Wilcom. It's been extremely well thought out so that you get the production-ready file so that your client can look through really cool artwork that's already set up in vectors. It's not going to create production problems on your end. But I think at the end of the day, it's being able to allow your clients to live interact with a file using the back-end design engine of CorelDRAW. That's a big deal, and that's why we decided to partner with DecoNetwork using our technology. So is there any other questions that anybody would like to ask, or we kind of open it up for questions now, or do you want to contribute any more comments, Brenden?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Well, actually, Craig, thank you for that. I'll go ahead, Brenden.
Oh, sorry, Marco. We're all jumping in. We all have questions. I guess one of the few questions we've had is how do they get Smart Designer? Where's Smart Designer available? Is it included in Corel? Is it an add-on? Where do they go to find it? So, do you want to just quickly fire up your browser and show them where they can go find out more info?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things that we do that are kind of cool is things that we're known for is obviously Smart Designer. If you go to digitalartsolutions.com, you can go to products. Go to software, and you can see all of our different products, including the Wilcom products that are up here. So just go to products, and then go to software and Smart Designer, and you can see everything you want. And there's tons of movies, so you can see how the software interacts. So it's the software. You have to own CorelDRAW first. It'll work with CorelDRAW X4 or X5. We recommend X5. That's the current version that we're promoting with Smart Designer. It just kind of blends in with the two programs. We don't call it a plug-in. We call it a blend-in. It just seamlessly blends in with Corel. One of the other questions that we have is different art volumes. There's 28 different art volumes from Digital Art Solutions, and every single one of those art volumes corresponds typically to a theme. So, like, I'll go over here and we'll go to Promo Studio, which is one of my favorite art volumes of all time. This is everything you need to penetrate the corporate market. And so events, promotions, things of that nature. So yes, the question is, are there other template volumes? Absolutely. In terms of the ones that are going to be available on DecoNetwork, a subset, kind of like we talked about before, a subset of these template volumes are going to be available through DecoNetwork, not the entire library of designs. We try to create some level of exclusivity, but a very good proportion of them, and some of our very best designs are going to be available through DecoNetwork. So that's kind of, and I think answering that question. Looks like you guys are kind of excited about this. So I'm just honestly just blown away by this technology. This is the technology we've been waiting for. We've gone live. Both DecoNetwork and Digital Art Solutions have put a considerable investment in prepping this content, getting it ready for you, and you'll be able to access this as an option with your DecoNetwork subscription. So any other questions that anybody would like to ask regarding this technology?
All right, I think we're back good.
Brenden, did you have any more questions?
No, really not for me. I think we're back good. Yeah.
Okay, so
all right, guys. Well, hey, Craig, thank you very much for your time. Brenden, thank you very much for your time. Just I guess a couple of things also on our end here. We do have more webinars scheduled, even to the effect of this week. So if you would, please check us out at DecoNetwork.com, and then there's a webinars tab. Just click on that. So there's more webinars scheduled for the rest of the week. If you're interested in knowing more about DecoNetwork, you're not a DecoNetwork client yet, you're interested in looking at DecoNetwork, or you have some questions, please give us a call. Our phone number is toll-free, 855-DecoNetwork, 855-DecoNetwork. That's if you want to reach us and talk to us a little bit about DecoNetwork. If you want to reach Craig and his team at Digital Art Solutions, they're 1-800-959-7627. Also, we'd encourage you and we'll welcome you to follow us on Twitter at DecoNetwork. You can find us also on Facebook and like us at facebook.com/DecoNetwork. And then also encourage you guys to join our blog, which is blog.deconetwork.com. On our blog, we have constant announcements of updates, enhancements. We'll also be updating everybody on the advancements that we make with digital arts, and we're excited about that partnership. And when we do finally get that announcement officially rolled out, it'll be there. So please make sure you sign up for our blog. It is free, and we're constantly updating that with videos and tutorials. And we do have a Brenden, I don't know if you're, I hope you don't get mad at me, but I'm going to just make a quick announcement. If you're not part of our newsletters,
Yeah, absolutely.
we've got a great one coming out. Our DecoNetwork newsletter, it's on SEO, search engine optimization. It's that big three words that everybody wants to know more of, and they want to know, how do I get my website found? How do people, people go onto Google, how are they going to find me? All those questions are going to be answered in our next installment of the DecoNetwork newsletter. So again, please go to our blog, deconetwork.com, and sign up there, and you'll get that newsletter. Brenden, Craig, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Is there anything else in closing that you guys need? No?
I think we're good.
All right, fantastic.
No, good.
We'll be online here for a few more minutes, so if you have any questions, we'll have the question bar working here for a few more minutes, and then we'll log out. Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you.